UFC 121 was a really good night of fights. Very action-packed. You really got your money's worth if you know, if you paid for it. You know, chipped in with a couple friends. You definitely got your money's worth. There were, I'd say, about 4 really exciting fights, including the main event. The one in particular that won Fight of the Night honors was a 170-pound contest between Diego Sanchez and Paulo Thiago, and these two, they had a war. Mostly it was Diego Sanchez dominating. He was so aggressive and full of energy. It was just tremendous to watch. You know, and no matter what Paulo Thiago did, Diego Sanchez just took control of him, took the fight to the ground, controlled him, dominated on the ground, and it was tremendous to watch. At one point, Diego Sanchez picked him up, carried him literally halfway across the cage, and then slammed him all at once, and it was just fantastic. You don't see that often enough. But he went on to win the fight by decision, and that was one fight that I won't soon forget. The other ones, let's see, let's talk about Jake Shields made his UFC debut. This was at welterweight, also 170 pounds, and he fought Martin Kampmann. These two guys were very equally matched, so it was a close fight. Pretty much a wrestling match the whole time on the ground. Jake Shields looked like he had most of the dominant positions, but it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of struggling. Not too many hits were landed, but Jake Shields ended up winning it by split decision. Some people might argue and say that Kampmann should have won. It was so close. If you study the statistics and break it down, you might see that Kampmann should have won. But the judges gave it to Jake Shields. Shields wasn't really all that impressive. He was trying to make, you know, an impact for his debut, but he had a tough time with Kampmann. So that was another interesting fight. So there was a heavyweight fight between Brendan Schaub and Gabriel Gonzaga. I think a lot of people picked Gonzaga to win that, but he seemed very sluggish, and Schaub just kept Gonzaga outside, kept him, you know, distance so that he could land that jab over and over. He kept stretching out that jab. He had a longer reach, and he kept Gonzaga away from him and just wore him out with those strikes. And he ended up winning that fight. And then there was Tito Ortiz versus Matt Hamill, which was kind of like the teacher versus the student. They're very friendly with each other until this fight was scheduled, and then they turned up the heat, and it was, you know, basically a stand-up fight the whole time until the 3rd round. But it looked like they were pretty even on the striking. Tito went for a lot of combination attacks, a lot of head kicks from Tito. I didn't expect to see that, but there was very few takedown attempts. And until the 3rd round, all of a sudden, Matt Hamill, out of nowhere, got this tremendous takedown on Tito, and he out-wrestled him in that 3rd round, dominated him, went on to get the win. Another win for Matt Hamill, and Tito, another loss. So big disappointment for Tito. And that leads us to the main event, Brock Lesnar, Cain Velasquez. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I just want to say, was a big crowd there last night in attendance for that fight?
Yeah, the arena looked very packed. You know, a lot of celebrities. Sugar Ray Leonard was there, Travis Barker, The Undertaker was even there to see his friend, his wrestling buddy, Brock Lesnar. A lot of celebrities. I probably forgetting some, but there was definitely a jam-packed crowd. Big event.
Any other wrestlers you can think of?
No, not that I saw.
Didn't have Rattlesnake there, right?
Nope, Steve Austin. He might have been there, but they didn't show him. I didn't see him.
Yeah, well, anything out of the ordinary happened before the fight among the people? Was there any talk? Most people probably were saying that Rock would take it real easy, right? Rock would win it.
No, I think, you know, Brock Lesnar had his usual followers. He has a very strong fan base. And then Cain Velasquez, though, pretty much had the entire support of the Latino community and Mexicans everywhere. I think they were completely behind him.
Were there a lot of Mexicans there that supported?
Well, I'm not sure how many were in attendance, but it was in California, so I figured there's a large population of Mexican and Latin, Hispanic at least.
Yeah, okay, so the odds were pretty great in Brock's favor, weren't they? Like 60-40 or something like that?
No.
Wasn't that high?
No. You mean the Vegas odds?
Yeah.
No, it was, Brock Lesnar was the favorite, I think -130, -160.
So that's not a real big lead, is it?
Mm-mm.
So then they considered Kane to be a pretty good fighter, the experts did.
Well, I guess they figured it was almost a 50-50.
Huh. We had no idea that it would be that close, did we?
No, I really thought they'd give Lesnar like at least a -280, almost -300.
Right. How did it go? Did it ended before the first round? How much time was over before the fight was conceded?
It was almost the end of the first round. I remember that. It was looking really bad for Lesnar because there was so much time left in the round and he was in bad shape. He was on his back, getting hammered from underneath, and it didn't look like he would be able to hold on. He ended up getting up from that, but they went back down to the mat again.
It's a lot of blood that was shed, right?
Yeah, he was real bloody.
Did Rock draw any blood from Kane, or was he?
I don't think so. Maybe a little.
Yeah.
Hard to see.
So when Kane came out, he looked pretty confident, or was just kind of quiet and humble and just went in there to win the fight?
Kane did his usual thing. He looked focused. He wasn't overly aggressive. It looked like he had a game plan. He was very comfortable. You could tell that he was just, you know, watching Brock, looking for an opening, and he went with it. He took the advantage when he had the chance.
How tall a man is Kane?
I don't know, 6-something.
6'3", 6'4"?
I don't think so, no.
Not even that tall?
No.
Well, you never know about these fights, do you?
Yeah, pretty much. I know. I mean, I understand how tall they are.
Were you surprised that, or you could probably tell pretty well that Kane was going to win the fight when he had Brock down hitting him like that?
Well, I've seen Brock survive some really brutal beatings, like the one from Shane Carwin.
Right.
He survived that, and I figured this couldn't be much worse. I was thinking he's going to be able to hang on here.
Right.
But what happened was
Kane didn't run out of juice.
Kane picked his shots more carefully.
Right.
And he was able to find openings. He was able to find holes. And even when he couldn't, he just stayed on top of Brock, didn't give him any chance to breathe. And basically, when Brock did get up, he was smack on top of him again. So. Right.
I think Brock must have got a little dazed right from those first punches, the reason he couldn't keep him down.
He got dizzy, and I think he got disoriented because when you go from wrestling on the ground really hard to all of a sudden standing up immediately,
right,
and you take a few shots in between, you're going to be wobbly, and that's what exactly he experienced. There was definitely cheers. When Cain Velasquez started hammering on Brock, it got really loud. I was really surprised, and you know, I was stunned that somebody could do that to Brock Lesnar the way he did. I did not expect that at all. Not that I underestimated Kane. I know fully about his capabilities. I knew there was a possibility of it happening. Great fight, very exciting, but lots of fun.